my esteemed guests, I am thrilled to announce that our third recipient, the Qimpro Platinum Standard for Environment, is Professor Dr. Haripriya Gundimeda. Professor.
Dr. Haripriya Gundimeda is the Institute Chair Professor for Economics in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. I didn't know they had an Department of Humanities. Her focus of work is environmental economics, green economics. Professor Haripriya specializes in the following areas: climate change, green accounting, valuation of biodiversity, environment policy, development economics. She holds a PhD from the Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research, Mumbai. In 2000, she was awarded a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden and was a visiting scientist at the Weizsäcker Institute of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. In 2001, Professor Haripriya won the prestigious Sir Ratan Tata Fellowship at the Asia Research Centre of the London School of Economics, where she worked on environmental sustainability issues. In 2006, she was a visiting scholar at the Institute of Behavioral Sciences, the University of Colorado, USA. Professor Haripriya has completed several national and international environmental projects for the World Bank, for the United Nations Environment Programme, the Global Alliance for Future Food, and more. Her most recent contribution has been estimating the economic value of the Sanjay Gandhi National Park to Mumbaikars. Professor Haripriya is passionate about natural farming. She aims to train a community of students in natural farming techniques. Professor Haripriya, a benchmark, a green accountant. We salute Professor Haripriya, our Qimpro Platinum Standard 2022 for Environment. May I request Mr. Bittu Saigal, our Qimpro Platinum Standard 2018 for Environment, and Dr. Anish Anderia to present the award to Professor Haripriya.
A very good evening to you all. As a last but not the least, the most important pillar for our society, Mr. Suresh Lulla, trustees, distinguished jury, esteemed guests, my fellow awardees, and friends. It's really, I'm terribly humbled to receive this award, and I'm deeply honored that the foundation has recognized that my work stands a scrutiny of whatever has been discussed to stand for the Platinum Award. So, and what I feel, I'm really, what should I say? Like, when I looked at the past awardees, I looked at the names, Bittuji in the area of environment. Then I looked at Justice Mehta, who has been a stalwart in this field. And also like other members or other notable leaders of the industry, healthcare, and education who has received this award. And I felt, am I being reminded that I need to do more work? So that's basically what I felt when my name has been announced. And I'm really deeply honored and also feel privileged to be with other members. So a lot has been already said. Let me start off with why I got interested in this field. I think my journey in this area started off in the 90s when there is a lot of landmark agreements have been made, international agreements, like 1992 Earth Summit, Rio Earth Summit, which popularized the world's sustainable development. Now, we very often use this word sustainable development, but what is that sustainable development? It's a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. That means we are being reminded that we should pass on to the future generation as much without, we should not leave them less, but we should actually leave them more. We should not deplete our resources. That's something which is really a message to all of us, that we need to be prudent about choices that we make now. And secondly, the most important other agreement that is the Kyoto Protocol in the year 1997, which has reminded all the nations that, it's fighting the climate change, mitigating climate change is a collective problem. It's not just one person's cup of tea. So they call for collective action towards a common future. So these are the two landmark agreements and then the environment movement has started in the 90s. But what particularly intrigued me was the way the environment capital, I call it capital, is being treated in the national accounting system. There are a lot of discrepancies in the way national accounts treat environment vis-a-vis the producer, the manufactured capital. I can tell you one example, the national accounts produce a key headline indicator called as GDP, the gross domestic product, and that is what we view it as income. So if our GDP grows, we think we are very happy that the income increases and we are prospering. But what is happening is, while the national accounts allow for an depreciation allowance for the wear and tear of the machinery, and then compute a net domestic product, when it comes to the environment, though it is a key input into the production process, is very silent about it. For example, soils are very valuable inputs for the agricultural sector. Right? The quality of soils matter a lot. While the agriculture GDP is counted, but then the equipment that we use in the agricultural sector, the tractors, the machinery, the tools, everything has a wear and tear. So there is depreciation allowance. You can write off that after efforting because you need to replace that. But when it comes to the treatment of the soils, what happens is there is no depreciation allowance. But if you're putting more fertilizer to restore the lost productivity, it is counted as an increase in GDP because you created a chemical industry there, you created more jobs, and there's more value output. This chemical industry has come because, part of it has come because the quality of the soils is degraded, but we are not showing it in the national accounting system. The GDP is increasing despite, because you're creating more jobs. Now, you hear of toxic air in Delhi. So the toxic air in Delhi has given mushroom. Basically, more industries are mushroom, the air filtration industry, the purification industry. The GDP would go up. The water we are polluting, but the water filtration sector has boomed up, and then the GDP is increasing because you have more jobs and more output, more value addition in the economy. Forests, we deforest, and then we convert it into for other agricultural or non-forest purposes like roads, expansion of roads, or whatever purpose that we want. But if you look at the capital, I mean, it's very surprising that if you look at the machinery used to, if you are using equipment to cut down the trees, that's basically a capital creation in the national accounting system, and that is being reported as increases in the GDP. But then the forest, as such, it's nowhere shown like, there is some value lost to the economy because of the deforestation. The wildlife, as we do not value at all because we say that it has intrinsic value, but then only it has value when it comes on the plates or as a culinary dish or as a commodity. So all this basically made me think that, the GDP is actually a wrong figure to measure the well-being of the nation. There is something that, you need to have apples, you need to compare apples with apples, and you need to get equal treatment. There should be somewhere level playing field, which is not happening. And that's how my interest into this particular area has started. So in order to get a new measure, like we computed the value of depletion and degradation of the environmental assets. So we computed something called as EDP, so environment adjusted domestic product along with the net domestic product. So if you look at, if your NDP and EDP are the same, that means you're grown without damaging the environment. So we need a new metric which can steer our economy, but not just the GDP number. Now, while doing this, I understood that it's very difficult to place a value on the environment because there are many things which we really do not know about nature. Nature is too complex. And while the produced goods have market value, there is no such markets for environmental goods and services. What is the value of the oxygen that the trees provide? Unless we sell it as a cylinder, there's no value, right? So when you have this, obviously you need to have various non-market valuation techniques developed to try and understand the value of nature. And that's what, so the second, if you have to bring them into the national accounting system, you need to value the natural capital. That's what has been done using various techniques. So when we do, what happens, so recently the study that we did for the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, it's like the value is something like 1,400 crores. Try and value everything, the existence values, the oxygen, the air purification services, the travel, the recreational value, all of these values, if you just add up, it's just equivalent to 1,400 crores. Similarly, we did the study of Western Ghats, and we proved that they are very valuable to the local economy. You can actually conserve the forest and then still boost the local economy a lot, along with providing public services to the humanity. Like, in the sense, all of these are public goods. The environment is a public good. So we also did a study, like what if we try to look at, like what if you know the value, say for example, and try to incorporate that in the decision-making framework, what difference does it make? And then we found in the study on the economics of ecosystems and biodiversity, which is an international study, that recognize, demonstrating, and capturing the value of nature could actually change the trade-offs, the way in which we actually take the decisions. I can tell you an example. For example, if you have a project A versus B, what usually we think in the businesses is we look at just the financial budgeting. We look at, okay, let's go for this because the IRR of this particular project is high. But then if you add in the environmental aspect, the kind of degradation we cause to the environment, because each of the economic activity would have some impact on the environment, if we add that, we'll say that the social rate of return would be negative. But there is a particular project where IRR might be a little low, but the social rate of return is high, then actually if it's we care for the environment, we actually choose a project which has higher social rate of return, though it has. So this is the way we can actually change the trade-offs by valuing the value of environmental goods and services. So we also can think of those costs. I mean, we will try and then undertake a project only if opportunity costs of not doing so are extremely high. So there are always alternatives available, but we are not looking for those alternatives. We always think that it's okay, because we are making this as environment versus development issue rather than thinking it as environment and issue. This has to change if we have to have a sustainable future. And if suppose a genie comes and then asks you, where would you like to live? All of us, I'm sure, would crave for a world which is beautiful, pollution-free, blue sky. But do you think we'll be able to pass on this kind of future for our future generations. My son is here, and he is the future generation. And I'm really worried about what kind of environment we would leave for them over here. It's a collective responsibility. It's not that we are immune to any of it. It's not like, I'll go out and take all pollution myself and something less is left for others. All of us are equally prone, which is what the pandemic has shown. Now, nobody is immune. It is going to boomerang. Nature is going to teach us lessons one day or the other. And I think it's time to wake up. We need to have joint up thinking, collective thinking. And that's definitely, I'm really thankful to the Qimpro Foundation that through this award, they have recognized that in addition to the financial capital, I call that produce capital as a financial capital, the health capital, the educational capital, they also form the fourth pillar, which is very important for balancing the well-being, which is the environmental capital. So through this award, they made this particular statement. I'm very happy that now the new movement is going to happen. Definitely there's going to be more recognition that environment is definitely something which is very important. I thank Qimpro Foundation and all my fellow awardees. I congratulate again. And this is a proud moment for my family. My mother is not here, but her heart is here. My husband is here, and my son and my brother, and my other family members, my brother and sister, they're all here. And then my students, they are looking for some inspiration, and I hope we will be able to leave a better future for tomorrow. Thank you all, and thank you very much.